I remember being in Publix with a couple guys, kids that worked for me, and the guy in the meat department came over and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm buying turkeys." We had like 4 carts. He said, "No, you can't buy the turkeys." I said, "Aren't they for sale?" And he said, "You can't buy the turkeys." As our community has grown, if you think about it, if a percentage is people in need, as the population grows, if that percentage stays the same, the absolute number grows. We would pre-order them and then say, okay, whatever, it's November 17th, that's a drop-off day. We would literally go load all the turkeys on. We weren't so smart. We used to carry the boxes. And I remember one day the guy at Costco said, "Can we just use the forklift?" One of our clients wrote a $30,000 check to St. Matthew's House because he felt moved by he didn't live here. He lived in Jacksonville. People are inspired by seeing the story. And then if you make it easier for them to get involved, anybody that wants to come volunteer on the 17th, you can come. When I was a kid, I always tell the story. My father, he was the chairman of the United Way. The community lived and died by steel. And it was a really bad time for that industry. You see these signs with the thermometers not being all the way to the top. He asked all of the media and the public to leave. He said, "How much are we missing?" And they all wrote checks. They made it work. And that was a lesson that my dad said, you have to commit to support your community. I think the statistic is like 56% of the students in public school are on free or reduced lunch. Put that in context to an extremely wealthy community. Now, that being said, we also have an extremely wealthy community that supports all of these things.
Today's guest is a hometown-hearted financial leader with a story as rich in values as it is in vision. Bill Beynon grew up in a small steel town in West Virginia. 5 miles in any direction took you to a new state. What began as a life shaped by blue-collar roots and a baseball-playing grandfather evolved into a career defined by risk-taking, resilience, and radical generosity. He's the founder of Capital Wealth Advisors and the co-creator of a local movement that started with 25 turkeys and now feeds over 6,000 families every Thanksgiving. Today we get to hear the heart behind the hustle, the story of a man who's quietly transforming lives across Naples, one box of food at a time. Join 2025 Turkey Drop, a massive volunteer-powered event distributing full Thanksgiving meals to over 6,000 families across Collier County. From turkeys and pumpkin pies to the deep joy of giving back, this is your chance to make a tangible impact this holiday season. It all goes down at First Baptist Academy in Naples, and they need hundreds of hands and even more hearts. So you can sign up or show up and be a part of the kindness at cw@turkeydrop.com. Happy Thanksgiving. But the one thing that always I was thinking about, because is Steubenville not far from where you were from?
It's across the bridge, yeah. That's so 5 miles from where I grew up. Yeah.
I've been there before for a wedding.
Yeah.
My cousin got married
Yeah, so
there.
where I grew up was a little sliver of West Virginia that's sandwiched between Pennsylvania and Ohio. So we're 20 miles west of Pittsburgh Airport, 20 miles away.
Yeah, that's
and
what
then
we flew into.
if I got up and I drove, 5 miles to the west, I was in Ohio. 5 miles to the east, I was in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Basically, yeah. So a
we
little
were
sliver.
at this beautiful spot overlooking that river, and it was where she got married. It was so pretty.
Yeah.
And but I didn't even know it existed. Like Steubenville was. I think it was Dean Martin. Dean Martin
was there, yeah. So it was a steel community. So Weirton was the main company. And at one time when I was a kid, it was like the 5th largest steel producer in the world. So they had 20,000 employees, and it was a big industrial area that kind of grew out of sort of the outcropping of Pittsburgh. And very different today. So it's the steel industry is gone.
Yeah.
But they've started to repurpose it, and now they have new manufacturing things, like battery plants and different things coming in. But it's really a commuter town to Pittsburgh now.
It is.
It's really a suburb, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, what was it like? It was like still small town, blue collar type.
Yeah,
town,
there were about
kind of thing?
50,000 people in the town when I grew up, and combined Steubenville and Weirton was kind of viewed it as one area.
Oh, it was.
But it was a small town, blue collar. My family ended up there. My grandfather was a professional baseball player, and he played a little in the majors, but mostly in the minors.
Really?
He played for a team called the Wheeling Stogies, which is a minor league team in Wheeling, West.
Stogies,
Yeah,
no
the
kidding.
cigar. I think
That's
Wheeling
awesome.
Marsh Wheeling Cigars.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're a sponsor, and he played them back in those days. The AAA teams played the major league teams as they were traveling through. So he played against the Yankees
Oh, so
and Babe
play
Ruth.
both,
Yeah,
up and down.
Yeah. So as an example, they didn't fly in planes back then, so they took a train or a bus, and they would stop and play sort of warm up or exhibition games along the way.
Okay.
And then when he retired from that team, he got hired by National Steel to play baseball on the company team, which you couldn't think about that today, but they actually had a full-time baseball team.
Really?
And for 10 years, he punched a time card and went and played baseball. And then
As a baseball
when they
player?
ultimately disbanded the team, he became a foreman in the steel industry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's how we ended up there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea
Yeah.
they had something like
Yeah,
that. I didn't know that
it was
existed.
very different. Back in those days, the companies had various things for entertainment, I guess. But
Yeah.
they had a full-on baseball team.
And he was he
was
ended up
from
in that
Ohio.
area?
He was from Ohio originally, but ended up there. That's how we ended up settling in Weirton as a family.
Okay.
And my father was born there. My mother grew up near Wheeling in Ohio, across the river, so south. So
Okay.
yeah.
And then what? You bucked the system and left and came for the
Cold.
sunshine?
It's very cold there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I went to college. My father passed away when I was in high school.
Wow.
And then I went to Western University in Morgantown, West
What happened
Virginia.
to your dad?
He had a heart attack. He was a chain-smoking phizician, unfortunately, like they
was
were back in the
doc.
day. Yeah. And,
Yeah, but everybody smoked. I know,
they all did.
everybody.
And they all started smoking when they were in the military.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, and, didn't sleep, workaholic, chain smoked, all the things that we know today are bad for you.
Yeah, of course.
So he died at age 50. So
Oh, my gosh.
I was a junior in high school. And so I went to West Virginia University, which is an hour and a half south, which was a great experience and a wonderful college experience. Went to work, got recruited into the insurance industry when I was in college. I needed money. And
Go to Pittsburgh? Where did you go for that?
well, I was in Morgantown, West Virginia. And so they had a college program. So I was going to go to law school. It was not my plan. From that, sort of got into that industry, developed an expertise in estate planning, got recruited to Pittsburgh. I was a director I was a director of estate planning for a firm there, and then got recruited to Naples. And it was
you got recruited down there.
it was snowing. It was cold and gray in Pittsburgh, and I had this opportunity to move to Naples. And I said, sure. I didn't even visit. I accepted the position and said, find me a place to live. I'll be there in 2 weeks.
Now, were you together? Were you with your wife?
We were dating. She claims I gave her like a week's notice, but it was a little longer than that. But yeah, and then we dated long distance she would come down in the summers because she was a school teacher. Oh, okay. And then we got married the third summer in 2001. So I moved in 98. We got married in 2001.
Wow. And law went to the wayside. Where did law come from? What was that about?
I don't know. It was just a thing as a kid you thought about, but I kind of, once I got into the financial industry, it was sort of a fit. So I knew that was going to be my career. I was a partner in a firm here for 7 years, and then in 2000, my partners had decided to sell to a publicly traded company, or actually a company that was taking the roll up public. I decided it wasn't a good deal for me because I was the young guy in the groom. And so in 2004, I started Capital Wealth Advisors with my childhood best friend, who I recruited back from, he was living in Atlanta, and he moved down and we started the company in 2004, the first year of the turkey trap.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, that had to be a big deal, though, because you had the security of an organization, and here you're going to just...
Yeah, I remember being on Fifth Avenue at the Prudential Real Estate office, signing the lease on our first office. And I looked at Nina, my wife, and I said, if this doesn't work out, we can live here. As you know, as an entrepreneur, as it is,
well, yeah.
That's what you do. So,
yeah.
But luckily it worked out.
I always like to hear that story because it's a big deal when you sign that lease, when you put your name on that lease and
the personal
that big number,
guarantee,
it's a big number always. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Wherever you are in life, it's a commitment. It's the big deal. And then what's your heart like and that first year like, and just making sure you're going to pay the bills.
Oh yeah. So
eat.
Yeah, all those good things. Luckily, my wife was a school teacher and we had her huge salary to live on. But it worked out fine. Yeah.
So she got a job here teaching.
Yeah, she taught here for 7 years and then retired and really became sort of doing charity work full time until we had our daughter. So she, right after she retired from teaching, she spent a couple years volunteering at Grace Place, which is, I don't know if you know Grace Place. It's a ecumenical tutoring program for kids. It's a wonderful program. And she was there back when they didn't have a facility. They had trailers and an old church and really enjoyed it. And then we had our daughter and, but we both have been involved in a number of charities, a lot around children and different things, but she's maintained that sort of as her day to day.
What was it that gave you the spark to go, let's just go pick up turkeys and take them?
It was just a whim. I mean, it was weird. It just, they called it on the radio. They said this is where need. We were driving. There was a Publix like literally right there. We said, let's go buy some turkeys. And we walked in and they had a big bin of turkeys. So I don't think at the time they didn't say anything. I will tell you years later, if you try to buy 100 turkeys at Publix, they will kick you out. I learned that the hard way. Now we have to plan. So, and today it's obviously a little bigger, but the joke is every year we said, okay, we did 25 the first year, let's do 50 the next year, and then we did 100, then 150. We used to just go and buy the turkeys. And I remember being in Publix with a couple kids that worked for me, and the manager came over, or the guy in the meat department came over and he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm buying turkeys. We had like 4 carts, and he said, well, you can't get the sale price. And I said, that's okay. And I keep on, he said, no, you can't buy the turkeys. I said, aren't they for sale? And he said, you can't buy the turkeys. And I said, and he brings the manager over, and he explained, which made sense to me, that they pre-plan how many turkeys they have. He's like, if you buy all my turkeys, my regular customers are going to hate me.
Yeah.
So luckily, he helped coordinate with a couple other stores, and we were able to fill the order. And then from that point, it became more of a structured deal. Today, we start, 8-9 months in advance procuring the food. It's a little different every year, trying to find the right things. We've dealt with bird flu. We've dealt with a number of things, especially on the turkey side.
Yeah.
Where there have been shortages, and but luckily we've got to have a team. Susie Mulry, who is the head of our HR, but she also runs our philanthropic endeavor. She's been my right hand in all this, so she's amazing. One year we had an order. I don't know which store it was. Maybe it was Publix, and their supply got cut, so they canceled our order in like September. Oof. And she just dialed for dollars until she got like an executive at Butterball on the phone and told the story, and they supplied us
straight to Butterball.
Yeah, so we pay for the food, so we buy the food. So it's not a donated, with the exception of the eggs and some of the produce. The eggs are donated by Eggland's Best through one of the producers called Cal Maine. We have a connection with the founder of Eggland's Best, and they've been very generous. Every family gets a dozen eggs as well. So today they get a turkey, all the sides. So they get corn, green beans, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, stuffing. They'll get vegetables that are provided through the Midwest Food Bank and Harry Chapin that we provide, some perishable items that go along, and they get a frozen turkey. So, and then they get a fresh baked pumpkin pie.
Wow.
And so it's really designed for a family to have a full meal where they have a place to cook, but not enough food to cook.
Yeah.
And it started with 25 turkeys. Today it's 6,000 every year.
Oh my gosh, the coordination for that has to be incredible.
Yeah, it grew every year, and we started to recruit our friends and other companies and businesses in town that we just said, hey, you want to help? We needed hands, because we assemble the food boxes. So we needed physical effort and volunteers, and then our friends started contributing. So it became a bigger endeavor. So we had a number of people that have been with us for a number of years helping out. And then last year, my wife and I decided we would match. We were at 3,000, so we decided to match personally to get us to 6, and we're doing that again this year. So, so it's pretty fun. And then we have a couple of side projects. There's a couple of elementary schools that we do, 100 or so, where sort of under the radar that we know they have a need there, and we distribute those through the school counselors to those families.
How do you coordinate something like that? Because you've got perishable, you got items that are going to...
Yeah, so November 17th is what we call Turkey Drop Days. That's really assembly day. So everything is coordinated to arrive at one location, the night before in that day. So we'll have 8 to 10 tractor trailers full of food that will be delivered. 8 to 10
tractor trailers.
Yeah. And we have to coordinate. We have freezer and refrigerator trucks on site.
Okay. Where?
So, we do it at the First Baptist Church. They've been really generous. They have a huge piece of property in the back. So what happens is they come in. So some are, we'll move the turkeys into the freezer trucks. So we have those frozen and ready. And then the eggs, the pumpkin pies, and some of the other things will go into the refrigerator trucks. The rest of them are palleted and ready to go. And then on the 17th, we'll have a couple hundred volunteers that pack the boxes of the non-perishable food items, getting those ready for distribution. And we'll distribute between the 18th and the 22nd of November. We partner with St. Matthew's House to do the distribution, and they do a wonderful job. And I think there's 5 or 6 locations around the county. Go to veterans, go to some elderly, anybody that's in food insecure that goes through the process with St. Matthew's House to get that. And we'll distribute. We do, the big one is at the church location. Second biggest is probably Paradise Coast, but then it goes all the way up.
Paradise Coast too. Yeah.
Some of it even goes up to LaBelle. So it really is spread out now. And there's a need. We ran out last year. Believe it or not, yeah.
No kidding.
So
with 6,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So as our community has grown, if you think about it, if a percentage is people in need, as the population grows, if that percentage stays the same, the absolute number grows. So it's just, as we've been blessed with a growing community, the need has grown. So we have to continue to keep up with that. And then the local community has been really great at donating. So we have a CW@turkeydrop.com. People can go and donate to buy additional food that St. Matthew's House can have to give out through the season.
Okay.
And they've been great in participating as well.
Beyond the turkey drop.
Yeah, some of it goes to Turkey Drop because they also serve, St. Matthew's House serves on Thanksgiving Day and that, in their normal, where they're serving a hot meal for someone that doesn't have a place to cook. So all of that sort of goes into the same, the same project, if you will.
But the logistics of that whole
Yeah,
thing.
it's
getting volunteers.
Susie and our team do an amazing job. So, on our staff, and she leads the team, and it's, again, it's a learning process over time. I think we've got the process really down. St. Matthew's team is really good logistically. The church helps. We have to have forklifts, and we have, I don't know, 100 tables set up, tents, and for the assembly day is a really big project.
Yeah.
Last year I bought a pallet wrapper because we have to wrap the pallets with plastic before they ship, because that'll be the central location, and then the main distribution will happen there, and then that day trucks will take them to the other distribution sites for the following day. So it kind of is the hub of where all the food starts.
That's like a whole business. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a huge day. Yeah. You think about it from the perspective of 8 to 10 tractor trailers full of food. I mean, it's an enormous amount of food when you actually put it down.
Yeah, and keeping it keeping it safe,
and
getting volunteers.
It started with turkeys, and then I didn't tell my partners, but Susie and I decided we were going to add the sides one year, because we said if they need turkey, they probably need the other stuff. So we failed to tell my partners. And I was in New York at a meeting, and my phone starts blowing up. And I get on the phone with my partner, Blaine. I'm like, what's wrong? And he said, what did you do? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, 12 pallets of dried goods just got shipped to our little office. And he said, we don't have room for it. Because we used to assemble in the office before we did. This is back in the day we did that. So when I got back, and we have pictures of it somewhere, I'll give you, literally down every hallway in every office from floor to ceiling were canned goods and boxes of potatoes. And, we had everything. It was fun. And so after that was the last year we assembled in the office. And then we started to move it offsite as it grew.
When was that?
Oh, probably 10 years ago.
10?
Yeah.
And then you realized
we couldn't. You have to do it on site. Then we decided to just have everything delivered to one spot. So early on, when we got to like 500 turkeys, we'd get up that morning, we would rent a box truck, we'd drive to either Costco or Publix or multiple locations, pick them up, and take them to St. Matthew's house. But now that we do the full meal, it's a much bigger program.
So it used to be where you're just that day getting a truck, going and getting them, driving them over.
Yeah, we would pre-order them, and then say, okay, whatever's going to be November 17th, that's a drop-off day.
Yeah.
We would literally go, load all the turkeys on, and we weren't so smart. We used to, carry the boxes. And I remember one day the guy at Costco said, can we just use the forklift? We're like, thanks. We're about halfway through. So as we've gotten older, we've gotten wiser. So, I think he watched us do it for like a half an hour, carrying them all. So, frozen bowling balls.
Well, I think every time especially around Thanksgiving, there's always this thought. It kind of creeps into my mind, like, what could I do that, is giving back? And, I have the thought about it that I'd really like to make a difference or do something, but to actually take action, sometimes it's just a thought, maybe I'll be more generous with tipping or whatever it is, but to actually go out to Publix, pick up turkey or to do something. But I think it's something that it's in everybody's heart. They want to do something. They just don't know what to do. And with what you have going, like, how do you get people to volunteer and get on the bandwagon with you? Because it's so special.
The first you ask one, our partners and our friends, I called them all and said, hey, I need your help. I need your help financially. I need your help with your people, your team. And then once they experience it, then they're in every year. I think the community has done a really nice job of, we always try in our communications to say we'd love for this to be an inspiration for you to help as well, whether it's monetarily or with actual food donations. So we try to make it easy for them on our website, the cwturkeydrop.com, to be able to do that. We encourage them to drop things at St. Matthew's house, and it has worked. It has, the feedback we have at St. Matthew's house is that every year around turkey drop time as our advertising. So we run full ads in the newspaper. We run a lot of things on social media just to get the word out. And inevitably the giving increases during that time. And some of our clients around the country have, one year he's passed away. Now one of our clients, wrote a $30,000 check to St. Matthew's house because he felt moved by he didn't even live here. He lived in Jacksonville.
Wow.
And so I think it's just more than anything, people are inspired by seeing the story, and then if you make it easier for them to get involved, anybody that wants to come volunteer on the 17th, you can come and see the crazy organized chaos of putting it all together. And then the distribution days are amazing. So St. Matthew's House volunteers, a lot of people from around the community come to volunteer for that. Yeah. And it's literally, you think about it, from morning till night, car after car after car,
just coming in
being
and pick
filled
up
with the baskets of food. And
okay.
it's almost unbelievable thing in the wealthy community we live in, that there are this many people that have need.
Yeah.
And then you think about times of hurricane. I remember during the hurricane, the last few years, you would see people that, maybe had a small business, and, that small business affected by the hurricane. Fishing. I remember a guy in a fishing charter truck from Fort Myers, thinking, well, he probably doesn't have a job right now. And, people live very close to that line, I think, in most of the world. So they can really help out. And St. Matthew's House is great in helping identify and get people ready for that. They're a really good organization.
Yeah, that's just incredible that it's turned out to be something that's...
Yeah, and we're trying to expand, like I said, is we support a lot of different charities. So we started CWA Cares, which is our sort of philanthropic initiative as a firm, and it's sort of hunger, children, cancer, veterans.
CWA Cares?
CWA Cares.
CWA Cares.
Yeah, so you go to cwacares.org, you can read about it. But we kind of took as a group, at the time when we did it, what were things that we're passionate about? Well, obviously food insecurity was one for us because of the turkey drop. That was easy. We had a handful of our employees and family members had cancer. So we said, let's support cancer and cancer research. We have veterans on our team, so let's focus on that. And we focus a lot with Home Base, which is a local organization we support. Children and children's initiatives. My wife and I are very involved with the Naples Children's Foundation, and people know the Wine Festival, but supporting all of the children's initiatives in Collier County. Education is included in that as well. So those are kind of the core things. And there's this big category called Other that we do. So we tend to support through our team, through our clients and advisors. So if you worked for me and you said, hey, I'm really passionate about this charity, I want to make a gift to this charity, we'll match that for them in that program. And every year it gets a little bigger, and it's, as the firm has grown, it's been nice to be able to do that.
Why? Why do you do all this?
I don't know. I guess when I was a kid, I always tell the story. When I was a kid, I was probably 9 or 10, maybe 8. And I was a young kid. And my father was a doctor in our community, prominent person in the community, and he was the chairman of the United Way that year. And in our town, it was a steel town. The community lived and died by steel. And it was a really bad time for that industry. So I remember you drive around the town, you see these signs with the thermometers. And I just remember them not being all the way to the top. Yeah. And you feel the stress a little bit about in the community. And you knew, through family relationships that people were struggling. And they always had like a big reveal night where they sort of reveal the results. And back then there was media, there was newspapers, and it was down at this community center in our town. And my dad asked me if I wanted to go with him, and I said, yeah. So you got dressed up, you put a tie on, and I remember going in, and it was a big room full of people, and I remember seeing that thermometer, and it wasn't full. And stress, you could feel the stress. I mean, as a kid, I could feel it. And I think my dad smoked a little extra on the way there. And then I remember they were about to start, and one of my dad's friends said, we need the room. And they asked all of the media and the public to leave. They shut the door. They said, how much are we missing? And they all wrote checks. He painted the red thing, and they made it work. They made it happen. And that was a lesson that my dad said, you have to commit to support your community. And it's important. So that's kind of always stuck with me. So, yeah.
So much so that the same year you did this with the 25 turkeys was the same year you started your own company, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right from the get-go.
Yeah. It just became a habit, It's part of the deal. It's a non-negotiable in our partner meetings. So. But it's worked out. Our staff loves it. We fly all of our team members from around the country in for the event, and everybody loves it. It's just a fun time.
Yeah. Well, what was it? So that was a pivotal moment for you growing up. But what was your upbringing like? What was that?
Normal upbringing. My mother was a nurse originally, and then had a second career in music. My father was a physician. We had nice, life. I mean, I was a wrench thrown in. I was 16. Just turned 16. My father died, and so that obviously was a big wrench. So we went from sort of having security to feeling insecure. So, kind of have that feeling. Yeah. But my mother bootstrapped herself, started a business, and, we were fine. But, but in general, I had a wonderful
childhood.
Brothers,
sisters?
Yeah. I have a couple siblings, a brother and a sister. And then I have my mother remarried several years later. I have a stepbrother and sister.
Were you in the birth order of the
middle.
other two? You're the middle child.
Yeah, middle child.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you played football in high school?
I played up to my freshman year. I played basketball most. Basketball, tennis, and cross country.
Tennis, okay.
And luckily I was better at math. So.
Well, what was it about the finance world that like got you hooked?
It wasn't. It was interesting. It was never my plan. As I said, I got recruited by a gentleman in Morgantown, West Virginia. He took me out to lunch, and at that point, it was for an insurance company, and told me, had me tell the story of my family and our background. And my father was a wonderful physician. He was a horrible financial planner. So when he passed away, he was in transition from running a hospital to going back into private practice, and he was underinsured. There were all those kind of issues. So it kind of was a story that I had lived. So it was easy for me to tell that story and wanting to help people to avoid that same problem.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of evolved over time. And coming to Naples, we started as a planning business. We grew into the investment advisory business. And it was really just trying to meet our clients where they had a need. And we've just sort of always kind of stuck with our retail business with our clients and not tried to do anything fancy. And it's worked out really well. And today, it's obviously a pretty large business.
And how has that evolved? Because you've evolved with the industry, because it's kind of transformed in the last 25 years. Yeah. How has it changed, and what have you done to stay?
I think from the perspective, what I see is I think there's been a migration from the large wirehouses and banks to private investment advisory firms. I think that's a big trend. Today, we see a lot of consolidation, where a lot of those firms are selling and consolidating. So we're in a category of like a large independent. So we have about $4 billion under management in the advisory business. We still have the insurance and planning business. We've got 60 some odd employees around on the team. What I think from a perspective is if you stay client focused and you focus on that first, you always think about that first, you're going to be fine. There's always something new and different and volatile in the market. But if you think about, am I meeting the client's need? Are we managing things to their risk tolerance? You'll be fine. And you got to get up every day and try to develop business. I think that's the other thing, is that we kind of came from a culture from the planning side, which was a fee for service business. So you kind of start at zero every day. And we applied that to the wealth management side of our business, which has really helped from a growth perspective. And we've had great results. And I also think you have to find great people. We're very picky about who we hire, and that makes a big difference, I think, in the long term.
What's it like hiring the current generation right now? How's that?
It's funny. We've been very lucky. So we have a very large internship program. So we have about 15 to 20 interns every year from around the country, and we've hired a number of them. And I have found that the crop of kids coming out now are not like what you see characterized on television in the news. I think they're hardworking. They're bright. I think that the future of innovation, you think about AI, you think about technology, making the world more efficient. I think they've got a different view of how things work, and it's been great, for us.
How do they integrate with the older generations? How's that going?
I still have to review myself as an older generation now, so view myself as that. It's great. What we do is we tend to bring them in almost like a mentorship role. So they're working hand in hand with people of all different ages, and I think that the relationship works out really well. We laugh though when the older generation having a conversation about something in our popular culture, a television show, and you look over and the girl looks at you like you have two heads, and it's like you never saw Seinfeld, did you? And she's like, I heard it on a rerun. Makes you feel really old. Right. But yeah, and so we started to learn that when they say they were born in like 2000, you start to say, oh God, I'm really old. So
and they're in the real world now. Yeah.
We have a really great young team. So, and across all parts of the business, from advisors to our sports staff to analysts, and so it's been really good. And the interns have been really fun to have. We always do a round table with them or a dinner with them after, and kind of let them ask questions. And it's really, they're really great kids.
So that's a kind of a pool for you to hire from?
Then we have, outside of that, we have, sort of full-time recruiting. So I have a team member in Nashville. She's in charge of our national recruiting process. So she's constantly looking to fill and grow in the areas where we need people. So she has initiatives in the different cities where we're growing, where we need more people, and from Naples all the way through.
And you groom them from do they still call it a book? Do they have a book?
Some do, some don't. It's a mix. It depends on their role. We've hired. One of our top advisors came through our internship program. Started with nothing, no book. So it just depends. Recently, the advisors we've been hiring have experience in other areas where they have some clients that choose to follow them. the way the world works is it's not, they can't, unless you owned your company, it's not necessarily where they can automatically bring. The client has to choose who manages their money, so who they work with. So, it's always a gamble. If you hire somebody that says, hey, I'm going to bring 4,000 clients, and they bring 2, that's a different result than you hoped for. But we kind of look at it to say, are we bringing the right person? We think we can help them grow, and it's worked out really well.
How do they get business now compared to how they did it 20 years ago?
I think the old way from 100 years ago is still the best way, and that's sort of relationships, referrals. Those are always the best. And we help teach them how to cultivate that in the community and what they're doing and how to meet people. And you have to have the right personality to do that. In addition to that, we have a partnership with one of our custodians, Charles Schwab, where we're one of about 120 firms that work with their branch offices to get referrals from them. So where they have a high net worth client that needs a certain type of advice, they outsource that to their partner, and we're one of those partners. So I have about 12 advisors that's their primary role. Is there a limit or a cap on the type of client you want? Do you know what that is? You mean on the size client? Is a range? We have a very, very broad range because we have young advisors sold. So if I think about net worth, we were talking about this the other day, is we have net worth from small and children of clients to people over $1 billion. So it's the same work. It's just applying it to a different person. So there's different complexities along the way and different things, but I think we can handle the gamut. And we have multiple generations of families that we work with. So you have to be nimble and be able to, meet each client where they are in their lifespan. Yeah. How do you, handling the volatility of the market, how does that affect relationships or your home life? It's a really good question, because I think the volatility of the market for us, I wouldn't say it's a non-issue. If you invest the client's assets with their obviously agreement to their risk tolerance, and they understand what that is, they understand what volatility they're likely to experience in the normal markets. If they know that going into it, they don't get nervous when markets move. I think people that are dislocated with their risk tolerance, that's how we get so many clients. Most of the time, people coming to us are dislocated with their risk tolerance, where all of a sudden, what does that mean? That means that they wake up one day and the market's down 10% and they have a stroke because they're going to throw up in their cereal because they didn't realize they were that exposed. Or the converse to that would be the market's ripping and their neighbor's earning 15% and they're earning 2% because they're misaligned with their risk tolerance. So you have to get that right first. And if you do that, they understand what the ranges of their portfolio should look like in any market cycle. And then it's constant communication. So we meet with our clients on a regular basis. We do a variety of communication things throughout the quarter. So there are never any surprises for our group from that perspective. Did it used to be that the earnings were based on what stocks were sold? Was that the industry, like the way it was? That not since I've been in. So if you go way back, it was. We call it the term broker. There was a commission business. So the employees of ABC company were compensated based on what they sold you. It was a commission. Now it's a fee, and the whole industry has really shifted that way. And it's better. Because it's, I imagine it would we have a fiduciary under our licensing. We have a fiduciary responsible to the client, which means we have to act in the client's best interest at all times. In the old days, they had a suitability standard, which basically said they had to sell the clients products that were suitable for those people. So the new way is a higher standard, and the whole industry has really shifted that way. It's very rare that we see what I would refer to as an old time broker. Or a commission based, not in our peer group. Is that a designation to get that, or no? They're different licenses. So there's so 2 federal licenses are Series 65, which is an advisory license, a registered investment advisor. That's what we are. And then there's what they call a Series 7, which is a brokerage license. Many firms will have both. Where you wear 2 hats, and it's really not necessarily what they're doing with the client, but it's a way that the firms make money on different revenue streams in trading. But in our business, it's advisory only. No, what is hedge fund? Business? What is it? So a hedge fund is just a structure. So a hedge fund is a structure of an investment. So a hedge fund can be invested with many things, but it really allows you to long and short. Meaning go with the market, bet for the market, bet against the market, and add leverage. So it's a structured type of investment. But you could have a hedge fund that invests in 500 different things. They could all be different. So you have to look behind that label to see what are they doing. Is it a long short fund? Is it a concentrated equity fund? Is it something more esoteric? So hedge fund as an investment, it's just that's a type of structure, but you really have to look at what it's investing in. And it's certainly there are reasons to have exposure to some things. Hedge funds can be used for certain things like getting exposure to foreign markets. Sometimes you can't do that directly in the U.S., so you have to have a structure to be able to do that, as an example.
So hedge funds are run by firms like yours, or
you could, yeah. So a firm like ours, or a brokerage firm, or some firms that that's all they do is run hedge funds. So
and then people can buy into that from outside that.
Yeah,
firm?
they make an investment into that. Yeah.
Into that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not a separate business in and of itself.
No, it's a class within the business. Yeah.
Okay.
Class of investment. So
what is your outlook on the economy right now? What is your...
I think the world is cyclical. I think what we've seen in the last, 8 to 10 months is a broadening of the market. We had a very long period of time where we had 6 or 7 stocks driving most of the return. So I think it's healthy that the market's broadened out a bit. So I think everything's cyclical. It's about turning dials, not light switches. So if you think about it, there's a time to wear a sweater in Naples. August is probably not that time. So being exposed to certain types of or areas in the market, depending on where in the cycle, your advisor can help you do that, so that you're meeting your return in a way that's, again, matching your risk tolerance, what you're doing. But I feel positive about it. I think some of the things in deregulation that are happening should help. Certainly the country's very divided. I think we've got to solve that problem. But in general, we've weathered a pretty good storm. I'm starting to see interest rates come down, so we'll see. I think we're through a slowing part of the economy. But in general, I think we've weathered it pretty well as a country.
Do you see any specific shift that the interest rates have to get to make the stock market do what it does?
No, I mean, the stock market is forward-looking, so it's already priced into the stock market. It's not reactionary; it's proactive. So the market will have already priced in, like it priced in the quarter cut already before it even happened. Now, had they not cut, the market would have reacted probably negatively. But that was already priced into the market.
So do you think that there's this correction that needs to happen with the stock market?
I think valuations are high. I think U.S. stock valuations are high. That doesn't necessarily mean a correction, a crash.
Yeah.
But certainly the stocks are expensive right now. Companies are expensive right now. Not all, but a number of them are. But there are companies and opportunities that are not as expensive. So non-U.S. has performed very well this year because the value was lower. So, it's just finding where you can find value from that perspective, and I think we're seeing a change in AI is going to change the world in a lot of ways. So I think some of that's yet to be determined.
Okay.
But certainly, you can't have sort of untethered growth and pricing to the point. You're not going to have a $10 trillion company. At some point, prices will either flatten or they'll decline a bit over time, but it's about diversifying to make sure that you're not overexposed to any one area, one thing, and also being exposed to the right areas.
Is your company using AI for anything?
Yes. So, a number of ways. So, from a simplest way, it's a wonderful research tool, and it's not. When I say research tool, where before you're reading books, you're Googling, you're doing different things to gather data, it will aggregate data very fast for you. It is very good at helping draft things as a starting point for a communication. In trading, just to compare it to old school versus new school. So I used to have to hire, analysts that if I said, hey, I want to see these 25 different things, and here are the different inputs that you have to put in, and find me the companies that meet these 25 different standards. It would take several days to weeks to get all that information and data, filter through all the different companies, and come back with a list of those stocks. Today, I can do that in minutes, and it can do it every day for you. So it speeds up the process. It's the same data inputs that I was looking for. It's just the speed of time to get it is much, much, much faster.
Did you bring somebody in to help prompt all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just sort of evolved. So some of our internal team kind of put focus to that.
Okay.
And then there are companies that in our industry that that are out there that we license and use their software to help, that
work with.
They're service providers that have
Okay.
come in. And we're seeing it pop up everywhere. I mean, as you are, it's on your iPhone, it's on your Google. It's it's really interesting.
I love it.
I tested a lot just to see. Like yesterday, I was doing a charitable tax calculation, and I wanted to see how good it was. And it was just absolutely amazing to me. And if you really, we're spending some time now learning and studying on how to prompt AI.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how you can, like, just the simplest term to say, ask it for something to say, and ask me questions along the way. And it'll produce something for you, and it'll ask you 10 questions. You answer those 10 questions, it revises it, revises it, revises it, revises it. It's really interesting how it works.
Yeah.
But there's also, importance with AI where you have to look to see who the provider is, where they're keeping the data. We are responsible to protect our clients' data, our own personal data. So we spend a lot of time making sure that we're at a standard where we're at the highest level of cybersecurity. So we have a company that we outsource to that oversees that to make sure that our team members aren't using anything that could potentially put any data at risk. So because it's, criminals use AI too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big.
Yeah.
My neighbor.
If I could just get AI to fill turkey boxes, which would be really good. Yeah,
that's one thing that it'll never be able to do.
Yeah.
Or cut hair. Thank God.
Yeah, that's true. You hope not. The robot.
Right.
Yeah. We won't tell Chris that there's a robot you're looking at from Tesla.
Right. Our neighbor this past week, she had somebody. They have a small business, and somebody wrote their accountant an email that said, "I'm a new employee. We have this new employee." It showed as if it was from her, the owner of the company, to their accountant. It said, "We have this new employee. I would like to pay him right away as an independent contractor. Here's his information, W-9, all the information, and bank information. He needs $7,200 tomorrow." And the accountant got that information, set it up in QuickBooks, did an auto payment right out. And of course, the owner looked at their bank account the next day and said, "What is this $7,200?" She said, "You sent me this email." And the email was drafted so well in her verbiage and just really
good job. How you avoid that? So we have in practice, you have multiple authentication factors. So we can't just take an order from an email. We can't just take an email from a phone call. Yeah. There's multiple ways that we verify identity, because even today in AI, they can copy our voices from this podcast.
That's crazy.
So it's you have to stay ahead of it, and that's a big part of our business. So we spend a lot of time, energy, and money in compliance and preventative things like that.
Yeah,
it's challenging, because you'd hope that they would use that for the good,
Of course.
Yeah, but they don't. So.
Yeah. But ultimately, it's still back to what it is the relationship.
It's 100%.
It's a relationship business.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you talked about, how do we grow the turkey drop? It was relationships. Calling our friends and saying, "Hey, we have this crazy thing going on. Why don't you show up and help us with this?" And, I remember calling my friend George Wilson. I don't know if you know George. He's a lawyer in town at Wilson Johnson. And they jumped in, and he's so funny. We used to put all of the canned goods in bags. And after like a day of putting them all together, he said, "I'm in charge next year of what we're putting in." And all of a sudden, all these boxes showed up. He said, "We're doing it in boxes." So we've had innovations along the way that have helped with efficiency. But it's nice to get everybody to help out. So it's really fun. The day of the assembly, we call it Turkey Drop Day, but it's actually assembly.
Yeah. Okay.
So getting it ready.
And what's the date of that?
17th of November.
And people who want to help,
we'll be there at 8 in the morning at the First Baptist Church on Orange Blossom.
Okay.
Yeah, or you can go on the website, click, and call us at the office, and let us know you're coming. We'll make sure we have a turkey drop shirt for you and ready to go.
Yeah. And so leading up to that, what else do you need leading up to that?
Any from my view, I think the inspiration always is if people want to give. Anything anybody can do. If it's one turkey, if it's one can of corn, what anybody can produce in the way of giving helps St. Matthew's House continue to feed people. And I think the important thing for people to realize here is there's a huge need in Collier and Lee County and the surrounding counties, that even though we're a wealthy community, there's a huge need. And these are people that are food insecure, but they have jobs, they're working, or they have a home. They just don't have enough food to provide for their family.
Yeah, and especially now, food is so expensive. Yeah. It is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unreal.
Yes, it is.
The amount that's gone up in the last couple of years.
Yeah. And then, that's been a challenge for us because we buy the food.
Yeah.
So my CFO gets a little nervous. He looks at commodity prices on a regular basis and he has to start approaching
it
turkey
directly
drop.
affects it. Yeah.
But we've been lucky. So how we mitigate that is we've found partners. So, if you're buying, you get maybe a better price for the turkeys if you're buying 6,000. But you're also having to procure those very early on, and those prices will fluctuate over time. We'll shop the various places. Either we can buy through the food bank now, which is great. Costco's been amazing. Publix has been amazing over time, where we're able to get good deals on things, which helps multiply the number.
So you can lock in a price early on, so you know where you're
buy
at.
it early.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't started buying turkey futures yet, but we'll see if they have. I don't know if they have those yet. But. And then this year, my wife and I, I'm flying up to West Virginia, our hometown, on Friday. So we've decided to take turkey drop, not to the same extent, but we're funding a holiday gift basket program up there with another food distribution. So we'll be able to do hundreds of baskets up there as well this year.
Wow. What's been the most heartwarming thing that's happened in the course of this over the time?
I think watching the families pick up the food. When you're giving a family food and people are thanking you, and we don't realize it. I don't open the refrigerator and think, well, there's nothing here. I'll just call Uber Eats.
Right.
But seeing some family, I wouldn't say it's desperation, but just the gratitude that they have, that they feel like a sigh of relief. You feel like a relief that they're going to be able to do something for the family and have a holiday meal and do those things. So that to me was always the best. And when we first did just the turkeys, they St. Matthew's House was set up in the lot where Home Depot is next to their old facility. Yeah. People just come grab a turkey and we'd go watch and, see that. But now it's, they're coming through their cars and they're getting the whole thing. And it's just you get more interaction with the people. Yeah. Which is nice. Yeah. And they're super grateful and happy to be able to have something for the holiday.
Yeah. Love that. I think that we're having this conversation now and it's still September, but it's actually that season where it's not just that day, but I love that it's ongoing for the year. I mean, you're working on this year round. This is not something that's just
it's become a big project. Yeah. But I think that as it's grown, we're going to continue to grow it. I don't know where it's going to evolve to. We've talked about making it its own charity so that it can live on past us. Yeah. So it continues to kind of endow something that can continue to do this for generations. So we're thinking about the future, but for now, we're just going to keep trying to grow the annual giving and grow the amount of people we can feed. And if we do that, it's a little part we can do in our community.
How do you set it up? Do you share people with your business working over here with the not-for-profit, or
no? These are all our staff volunteers. These are everybody's a volunteer. There's no everybody.
Wow. Oh, so 100% goes to that.
100% is our team. This is Capital
beautiful.
Wealth Advisors team.
Wow.
And our friends.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So no, there's no paid. There's no overhead. This is just we fund the whole thing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
And our employees love it. I mean, it's a fun. It's great because our team members from out of town come. We do some events around it. We do a holiday party for it too. So everybody's here.
That's cool.
And it's sort of fun, and it's been great. Yeah. But no,
really
it's all internal with our team.
It's a big part of your culture. Then.
Yeah,
it's
it is. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I really love that.
Yeah, so I can't wait to show you the picture of all the canned goods in the offices. That was the best. That was a fun one.
Yeah, we got to put that on. I want to see it.
That and getting asked to leave Publix once those were my two highlights.
Helping people.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was funny. And one year they ran out of turkeys. There was a shortage of turkeys, and I can't remember the name of the. It wasn't. It's not Winn-Dixie again. I can't think of the name of what it was.
Was Sweet Bay?
Sweet Bay, yeah. And I was talking to the guy. He's like, "Yeah, we have a shortage. And what can we do?" And he said, "Well, why don't you do gift cards?" So I said, "Oh, great." And I walked. I felt so bad for the lady. So he goes over and he's like, "Hey," he said, "Hey, Mary, I need 500 gift cards for whatever for a turkey." Best. And she looked at me, and I'm standing there, and she's got this boxes of gift cards. And she said, "This is going to take more than a minute." She said, "Can you come back in a few hours?" And I felt bad. This poor lady for like 3 hours did nothing but do gift cards. So that year we did gift cards because they didn't have any. There was a turkey shortage nationally. So, yeah. It's really interesting because because it's a tradition for a turkey, but that's sometimes the most challenging part is finding turkeys. Yeah, because of the way the market works, especially the bird flu and the stuff. It's been fun, but I always remember that poor lady at Sweet Bay. There's lots of fun stories like that, but
that's poignant. I had no idea that it was just your company that was
just us. Yeah, and then our friends, so, as I said, Wilson and Johnson's been there forever. Woods, Wide, Miller, Machete, and Rudnick is a law firm here in town.
Yeah.
Our friends, we recruited them. They bring their whole team. D'Angelo Steinman has been volunteering with us forever.
Yeah.
BNI from up in Fort Myers has joined in. All through relationships to their friends, that kind of came in. Yeah. New IQ is a automated gate company here in town. A friend of mine, he's jumped in. His team comes every year, and they give monetarily as well. So everybody's just really adopted as their thing too, which is cool. Wow. Allen Concrete's another one. So they got involved, friends with the Allens, and one year we had this order. It was a few years ago. We didn't have a way to get the order from Costco to the church. Something happened with trucks, and they're like, "Oh, we got trucks." So they loaded up. They still do. They help us. Right? They load up their low boy trucks filled with canned goods, pallets of canned goods, and drive them over for us.
Oh my gosh,
great! Yeah,
that is beautiful.
So you got to innovate. You kind of scrap around to find the ways to get stuff sometimes when things fall through.
Yeah, well, it impacts 6,000 families.
Yeah,
6,000. It's more than just that, even, but and that it's done through the generosity of the spirit of the people that are on your team and the teams of those other businesses. It's not there's not somebody sitting in an office all day for 365 days working on this. Yeah. You guys got to fit it into your own.
Yeah, we do it internally,
Wow, that's beautiful. So that is incredible. I had no idea.
Susie Mullery in our team, she runs the team that does it now with me, and she's just been great. And she's been there. I think Susie's been here for 15 or 16 of them, so she kind of came on. And it was one of the things, like, this is part of what we do as a firm, and so it's all like we hire people. It's part of the story.
Yeah, what a beautiful thing.
We encourage everybody. Like, if I hire somebody in Pittsburgh, they're encouraged to know that in November we'd like you to be here. Yeah, we pay for it. We fly them down. We pay for their accommodations, but we like, and it's wonderful once they get it's fun. It's a great day.
Well, I noticed that about the youngest generation that we're hiring now. They really want to be a part of something. They really want to make an impact on the world and more than what they're just doing. They really want to be.
Yeah, and I think Naples just in general has always inspired me because it's such a generous community.
Oh my gosh!
If you think about the money that's provided to all different organizations, no matter where you go, it's just mind-boggling. Yeah. And I go to other places in the country, and and they want to learn what we're doing in Naples. Yeah. I was just up in Nashville at a charity event, and they've asked us to come help them kind of talk through how they do it, because they said no one does it like Naples. Yeah. And it's been great because we learned from a lot of the people that have been here for years. What we do with the wine festival is amazing, and the 5 families that started that, to think that 25 years later they've raised $380 million. I mean, it's just absolutely mind-blowing. Yeah. And you learn from, and you're inspired by what they did in their efforts, because those people, same as us, they didn't hire a staff initially. They covered the overhead with their own money. They put it all in, and those are the people that get the ball rolling. And then once it gets rolling, then you can really make it big. Yeah, which is great. Well,
just the level of logistics. It's one thing to write a check, but to put that whole event together, that's not a small thing.
Yeah, the distribution part, St. Matthew's House is brilliant at it. I mean, but we start meeting, shortly after the first. Well, I think last year we may have met in December, starting to think about what we're doing. But they have a wonderful network that they have the distribution really done. That really helps. That would be the hardest part for us. Yeah. Because without a partner like St. Matthew's House, it would be very difficult to reach the people, know who they are, vet them, make sure that we got the people coming in. But they do their team does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, they are something. Yeah.
And then, on our side, it's like I said, it's been evolution. So it's just kind of every year we try to find innovation. Like the pallet wrapper was, if you've ever wrapped a pallet full of boxes with the stick and you're dizzy by the time you walk around it. So I Googled pallet wrapper. So now we put the box, we hit a button and it spins, and then it goes off.
It's automatically
to the truck. Yeah.
I've tried to open one before, but never wrapped one.
Yeah. Wrapping is really bad. So everybody's dizzy and, spinning around. They hate that job. Whoever gets that job hates that job.
And all by just the goodness of their heart, just these people that you just have made it a part of. This is how we do do things here.
Yeah,
This is just what it is. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Naples. And to think that Naples, you think when people come in and they see our perfect medians and our perfectly manicured everything, everything's so perfect. Most people don't realize that there is so much of that. Like one...
Yeah, I think I think the statistic is like 56% of the students in public school are on free or reduced lunch.
It's incredible.
Just put that in context to an extremely wealthy community. Now, that being said, we also have an extremely wealthy community that supports all of these things. I mean, if you look at our nonprofit infrastructure here compared to other communities of our size, it's not comparable. I mean, you look at from the Boys and Girls Club to all the different St. Matthew's House and all that they're doing in the community to support people, I think is remarkable. Yeah.
Well, there's something why I like doing this, because I like to get underneath what's behind these extraordinary people like yourself. That's unique. That's going to have some. You had to be a pioneer in a lot of respects to just pack up and move here to begin with, and leave where you came from, which is, a lot of people don't go leave their roots, and you had to come to Naples, which wasn't the Naples it is now. It was still growing, as it always is and never stops. But then to the same day you decide to sign your name to a lease, the same year you're also driving to Publix, picking up 25 turkeys. Not saying, wait, let me catch my breath. Let me make sure I can pay the rent for a couple months first. So there's something unique about the way you're wired.
I think there's people have said to me, like, I don't have a negative bone in my body. And I never, when I signed that lease, I made the joke with my wife, but I never had any expectation but succeed. I never worried about if I spent money on 25 turkeys that it was going to cause some economic harm. You never crossed my mind. So, and I would say, from my parents, my father specifically, it's more important to give to the people in the community is to buy the new television. If you have to sacrifice something, sacrifice yourself.
Yeah.
That's sort of ingrained in us as kids. And I think that's important. And, we live, with everything you've ever wanted in life. Think about Naples and sunshine. So I don't have to shovel snow. We're so lucky. And so the little bit we can do, it's a rounding error for most people in this community, but it makes such a huge impact for everybody else.
Yeah.
And
well, you do it on the court too, so it's not just writing a check. You're doing that and then some, and you're also building on the values of the people that you grew that are in your company. If you have 60, I don't know how many you have on your team,
63 or 64.
64, but their families and their children, and the impact that it has everywhere is just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it's fun too because the FBA, the school that's on the church grounds, they actually have kids volunteer for distribution day, which is fun. So their kids are out there seeing what's doing. It's really nice. And my daughter and her friends come and volunteer every year, so they get to see it and they get to understand it. If this inspires somebody to do something, whether it's in food insecurity or something else, whatever your heart drives you to, do it. Take a chance, make a difference in somebody's life, write a check, volunteer an hour, whatever that may be. It doesn't always be money. Sometimes your efforts can be just as valuable. So.
And it's been a part of your daughter's life her whole life, pretty much, huh? Yeah. She's a freshman now.
Freshman in high school, yes. So the big year. So she's having a great year. Yeah.
Is she's a good teacher? Good.
She loves it. Absolutely loves it. She's a Barron Collier and is having a great first year.
Where was she in middle school?
Pine Ridge Middle.
Okay.
She was a Seagate, Pine Ridge Middle, and now Barron, and has had a wonderful experience. Our school system here is really good.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
It's really, really good.
100%.
Both the public and the private schools are really good.
Yeah.
I think it's about finding the right fit for the kids.
Yeah.
Every kid's going to fit somewhere, and she's a big school kid. She announced to my wife that she's not going to college anywhere that doesn't have a Division I college football program.
Oh, good for her. Yeah.
So it's kind of fun.
So are you pushing her towards the to be a mountaineer?
It's up to her. She did commit before she could speak, but we'll see. She's a pretty big fan, and I was on the board there. I was on one of the boards there for 9 years, and we have a home there, so she gets exposed quite a bit. So if you walk into her room, she does have a framed jersey on her wall, so her pictures. So she's pretty ingrained in it, but we'll see. Yeah. Florida schools are great too.
What was their claim to fame? Major, who was the
football player
for
Major Harris in the 88? Yeah,
88.
Yeah, he was good. Jerry West was one too. So the famous basketball.
Oh,
player.
right.
Yeah.
Was Major in Naples at any point? Or did he ever come here?
No, he was a Pittsburgh guy.
But he never came. He never visited here.
I don't
was
know.
part of our community. In
I
any
don't
way?
know. I don't think so.
No.
He runs a counseling program in Pittsburgh for at-risk kids.
Okay.
At least the last I heard. So yeah, he's a nice guy.
So that was a big year for them. Was it? What year were they
It was
relevant?
good until we got beat by Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl.
You know.
Not that I remember. Not that I hold a grudge.
I don't like Notre Dame anyway, so
it's okay.
I'm sorry that happened. Yeah, I would have been rooting for you.
Yeah, it's all good. So, but, yeah. So
They beat Penn State that year, right?
Yes, we did. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it was the only time in my college career they beat Penn State. So yeah, I think the big thing for everybody is that 17th is going to be the assembly day, turkey drop day.
Yeah.
18th,
What day is the 17th? Is it because Thanksgiving is the week after that? Is
Yeah.
it okay? So it's
Yeah.
the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the 18th through the 22nd are distribution days, and they'll be on the website, cbaturkeydrop.com.
They'll be at the satellite areas.
Yeah, and
okay.
anybody wants to go volunteer can go to those. You can call us, call St. Matthew's House on the website, be the information. If you want to make a donation, you can do it through the website. You can drop something off at St. Matthew's House.
Okay.
If you want an experience, go to Publix and try to buy 100 turkeys and see how they do. Or Winn-Dixie or any of them.
Could people actually bring turkeys? Or,
Yeah, you can drop them off at St. Matthew's House.
You can.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so that's something
because they
people
need
can
them. They need them for the food they're cooking too.
Yeah.
So there's always a need, and anything that doesn't get used on Thanksgiving that gets used, they're going to use it.
Okay.
So there's a constant flow of people there through the homeless shelter, plus people that come there for the soup kitchen type
All right.
situation. Yeah.
We'll make sure we have all that.
Yeah, it'll be good.
In the notes.
Yeah, and I'll put all that in there too for you.
Good.
Yeah. But
Is your mother alive?
yes,
What's her name?
Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Mm-hmm.
How would she describe you?
Difficult.
The middle child, difficult?
Yeah, no, I'm joking. No, I don't know. I have to ask her. I'm going to have lunch on Friday, so we'll see. I'll have to ask
She
her that
down
question.
here?
No, she's up north.
Oh, but you're going to be up.
Yeah, I'm going up on Friday.
Okay.
I'm going up to finalize the turkey drop up.
Oh,
there.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
All right. How about your wife? How would she describe you?
crazy. She always said, like the big idea, like she'll say, "You're doing what?" And I'll say, when we told her we're doing 1,000 turkeys, she thought it was crazy. But she's been a wonderful support and been a huge part of it. So she's learned to understand I'm going to volunteer her for things that she has no idea she's been volunteered for, and she goes along really well. But no, it's been fun to do it together, and as a family, it's been great.
Any books or podcasts that have been a big inspiration to you or that have impacted you in a big way?
I read a lot. Read a lot of business books, read a lot of fiction. My favorite book of all time is called The Last Marlin. And if you remember the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer?
Yeah.
So it's the real person. It's about his relationship with his father. And that's my favorite book. If you get a chance to read that, it's a really, really good
The
book.
Last Marlin.
The Last Marlin. It's
Okay.
about going fishing with your dad. It's a really, really good book.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I've read that many, many times.
All right.
I think from a perspective of books, podcasts, I always like to learn. I love like Founders. If you've watched Founders at all, the podcasts,
Yes,
I
yeah,
love
that's a
that. I
great
love learning how people made their money, what makes them tick about their life. I think I always find that type of podcast really great. Anything we're going to learn more about somebody that the public doesn't know. I think would be a really, really good. Founders is probably the one I like most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What business book do you attribute to having a big impact on you?
An old friend of mine, there's two. So from a service perspective, and you know this in your business, there's a book about the Ritz-Carlton way. The old Ritz-Carlton, the original, when Ed Staros and
Franny and W.B. Johnson Properties,
Horst Schultz, when they started.
Yeah.
That to me is the epitome of how do you serve clients and serve people and treat your employees. I think it's a wonderful book for people to learn and have a business.
Yeah.
For someone that's out developing, there's a book called Never Eat Alone that an old friend of mine gave me, which is really good. And it's about building relationships more than, just asking for business. It's about constantly being out there, meeting people and building your network. And it's a really good book.
Never Eat Alone.
Never Eat Alone.
Okay.
I'll give you a list. I like Sam Walton's book too. It's really good. His story. It's a remarkable story.
Yeah.
So, and then the one that I have read more recently that's way up in my top is Shoe Dog. It's this
okay.
Phil Knight's autobiography, and just a remarkable book. And if you have a kid, they have a junior version of the book.
Do they really?
Yeah, so it's really, really good.
I haven't read
it.
that.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Is it?
If you saw the movie Air,
I did.
It's the time period from the start of Nike right up to that point.
Okay.
And it's an excellent book.
Yeah.
You almost can't believe he pulled it off. And as an entrepreneur yourself, you and your dad, I mean, you understand the grit of running a business and starting a business.
I'd love to hear about
appreciate
that.
it. Yeah,
oh
it's
yeah,
really,
yeah.
it's really good.
See what people go through.
Yeah,
You have no idea what's behind the curtain.
Yeah, it's and you know, if you think back in your business life, you know, there are moments in time where you did something to keep everything going, and if you look back, you're like, how did that work?
How the hell did that go?
Yeah. How did we pull that one off? You know, those times. You know, but you know, and you guys had COVID. You know, think about all the different hurdles we've all had.
Oh man.
But yet we're all still sitting here.
Yeah.
We're doing a podcast in Naples, so it's good.
Yeah.
We're not in Philadelphia shoveling snow.
Thank God. Yeah, I'm grateful to my father for leaving the nest.
Yes.
He pissed a lot of the Italian neighborhood off when he left. His mother was not happy about him leaving, but thank God we're out of there for sure. Yeah. If your life was a movie, what would the soundtrack be?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't know. Maybe the soundtrack of Forrest Gump. That's always, he's got a lot of good stuff in it.
That's a great soundtrack. Yeah.
I don't know. I like a very broad variety of music. So if you looked at my phone, it'd be very, very eclectic.
Cool. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm building a playlist for the people that I have on here.
Yeah.
What are a couple artists that we should put on there?
What have I been listening to recently? I like a lot of country. Chris Stapleton, Thomas Rhett, lately. Lainey Wilson, The Countryside, Fleetwood Mac, Journey, of course. Their music always brings you back to the time where you were when, you know, so I think about Journey, the first concert I went to. I think about, you know, going to see Bon Jovi as a kid when I was in 9th grade. You know, I worked at a concert venue too, so you got to see kind of everybody and meet different people. I remember the first concert I ever worked with Billy Joel. And
no kidding.
Yeah. And,
really?
And, you know, you got to see that, and you know, I've been lucky in my life to meet a number of artists and over time and see them in very, very small venues. It's been kind of fun. And
saw Billy Joel back in the day.
Yeah. And I just saw him right before he retired. So the bookends of it.
How cool is that?
I saw him at Madison Square Garden. It was cool. He was amazing.
I saw something recently popped up on YouTube. Was one of his shows in New York recently. It was and just he's still performing.
Yeah,
like,
it was good. Yeah,
crazy. Like his performance.
He's got a health issue
age.
now, so he can't perform. But he did the residency for how many years in Madison Square Garden, and I knew it was coming to a close. So I went. It was as advertised. It was pretty good.
Yeah, he just never stopped. He was always had
working in a concert venue for a few years when I was in college. You got to see every type of music, every type of performer, and gave you an appreciation because it's a tough life. You know, they're on the road and you know, so
same thing every night.
Yeah,
pack it up, do it again. Yeah, always look like, boy, I wish I could do that, but I don't. I remember seeing my son asked me for a password for our Verizon account, or my one of the questions was, what was your first concert? And I had to remember it was Van Halen in Lee County Arena, or it wasn't Lee County Arena, whatever it was at the time.
What year?
Had to be 80.
So David Lee Roth.
David Lee, pre Sammy,
I'm going in March to the residence at the Sphere for Sammy and the.
No kidding! Yeah. Oh, how cool is that?
There's a group of guys. It's a group of guys of our generation that all grew up with that. We're all going. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
How cool will that be in Vegas on top of that?
Yeah. The Sphere's gonna be interesting. I've not been, so it's really neat.
Seen it from the outside. I haven't been to a show inside. But I've seen and videos of the inside. It looks incredible
really
to see a show. Yeah. I saw some people who saw U2 there, and they said it was awesome to see them during that time. But last show I went to was at that little Bonita. It's closed now. Yeah, they had the Psychedelic Furs there, which were from the 80s.
I saw John Oates there. It was really
did you really?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was a cool little spot. My wife, who's younger than me, we had these very front row seats, and the guy from the Psychedelic Furs today looks old.
Yeah.
You know, he just doesn't look like he did that. And she's like looking at him, and he's right above us. And it was the great song, but if you look at him, it didn't match the music from the time.
Yeah.
She's like, what are we doing? But it was awesome to see them in this small little, you know, hall like that.
Yeah.
Just the memories of that era,
college,
time period. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember in college, Dave Matthews used to come play at my friend's fraternity house.
No.
One Friday a
Dave
month.
Matthews.
Before he was famous.
Wow.
Yeah, right before he was famous.
That's
And,
crazy.
yeah. And
He's
Hootie,
a
the other was
performer,
Hootie and the
man.
Blowfish. I
Hootie,
remember
too.
They came and nobody went. There were like 10 people there.
Really? To
It
see
was before-
Hootie?
They were just grinding
wow.
around. But they used to come play all the parties at college. And then within months, or a year, they were famous.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Dave.
But they all grind. Well, we see the end result. You don't see the 10 or 15 years they grinded
To get there,
in a
yeah.
van driving around the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah. And Dave still performs as if he is in a van. Like he's
Yeah.
literally just doesn't let it go to his head. He's just like he lives for that performance.
It's pretty cool.
To see him do that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do some of these interesting questions here.
Okay.
These are totally random, so I'm gonna have you pick 3 cards out of there. Any color, any kind. All right, and you read the question, and then go ahead. You're going to read the question, then you get to answer it yourself.
What was the last thing that you did that made you feel like a kid again? Ooh. Not really. Let me think. I bought a box of popsicles. Hadn't had those in a long time. Real old school popsicles.
Yeah, right. The kind that make your tongue red.
Yeah, old, like the bomb pop popsicles. That made me feel like a kid again.
Awesome.
What was the best compliment you've ever received? I think a friend of mine described me to someone else as the most generous person he met in his life. But I wasn't in the room when I heard. I was told secondhand that was told.
Yeah.
So that was probably
Beautiful.
the best ever. Let me see here. The first cell phone you ever had was given to me by a gentleman. I worked at a golf course when I was in college, and this is pre-flip phone. It was about a foot in size, and he had gotten the new gray. Remember the big gray flip phone, the first one?
Yeah, it was a big deal.
So he handed it to me. He said, "You can have this." So like an idiot, I got it turned on. And I thought I was the coolest kid in the world. And I think I talked on it for maybe 8 minutes. And the bill was like $900. And I quickly put it away. I'll never forget that. Like, I thought I was the coolest thing in the world until I got that bill. Yeah.
Hey, it's me. I'm on the golf course.
Yeah. No, I think that was so cool. And the bill came. It was like $900. I was a stroke. I had a stroke almost. Because I didnn't have $900. I remember going to U.S. Cellular and saying, "Can I make payments on this?"
Oh, for those 8 minutes of freedom.
That's what it felt like. Yeah. He was a wealthy businessman. I wasn't, so it worked out well. So,
yeah. Even then, and then it became you had to pay to text.
Yeah.
And you had to push the 3 buttons on the razor. Or whatever,
Yes. Yes. All those.
Blueberry, blackberries.
It's all evolved.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So aside from being on screen now, thanks Zach for putting that up there. So we'll have that up there too. Tell them again, what's the best way
to donate? You can go to cwaturkeydrop.com. And there's links, donation. You can go right there. You get all the information in the turkey drop.
And any time of year they could do this,
yes.
Right? Because it all goes for this big event that we're
and it's 100% pass through. There's no
overhead,
no admin.
That's the beautiful thing. People really got to get that because there's nobody sitting at a desk answering the phone for this. Your business is absorbing all that from people. So that's a beautiful thing. I mean, that's really awesome. And then if they want to, because I think it's really rewarding too, if they want to actually get boots on the ground and be there with you.
Yeah, the 17th of November, that morning about 8:30 is we'll do a little kickoff at the First Baptist Church, the corner of Orange Blossom and Livingston. And you can get that information. You can contact us through the website, again, cwaturkeydrop.com.
Okay.
And tell us you're coming. We'll be ready for you. And then the distribution days, which we're partner with St. Matthew's House, will go from the 18th through the 22nd. Those will also be listed.
Okay.
And volunteers are needed at every one of them.
And they can register as a volunteer right on the site, or they can let you know?
I think there's a link to get there,
to say what they're going to do. Okay. All right, great. All right, last question.
Mm-hmm.
What do you love about your life?
I love the fact that we're able to do what we're doing in the community. You know, we're very lucky. You know, we have a successful business, a wonderful family, we have our health, and I love being able to get up every day and making a difference in the community. It's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's why this community, I think we're so blessed to have people like you. So honored and really appreciate what you do, because it's not just for you, it's much more than just about what your business is up to. You're actually here to make a real impact. God bless you.
Thank you too.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
Too.
God bless.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.